Hello, my name is Taylor Rains, and today we will be learning about DNA fingerprinting and how it can be used to solve crimes. Welcome to our police force. I know you're new here, but there's no time to waste as we already have our first case. There's been a murder, and it's up to us to use our forensic training in DNA fingerprinting in order to find out who did it. Our victim's name was Sally, and she was murdered last night in her home. Our witness, one of Sally's neighbors, heard a scream in the night and called 911 in worry. Now it is our job to find out who the criminal is and bring them to justice. After some investigation into Sally's personal and professional life and looking through the evidence, we now have 4 suspects. These suspects are Danny, who is Sally's ex-boyfriend, Mike, who's Danny's father, and 2 of Sally's co-workers, Bradley and Emily. With this information, we are able to create our suspect pool to compare DNA against the DNA that we found at the scene. To do this, we will be using DNA fingerprinting, which is a chemical test that shows the genetic makeup of a person or another living thing. We will take our DNA samples and amplify them for 2 different VNTR loci in order to compare all of our DNA. The VNTR stands for variable number of tandem repeats. This is a repeat from a single genetic locus in which the number of repeated DNA segments varies from individual to individual. So, after running our DNA fingerprinting analysis for the 2 chosen loci, here are our results. In DNA fingerprint testing, the alleles that are possessed by every DNA sample are displayed by these clear boxes. The first thing that we see through this DNA fingerprinting is that Mike is for sure Danny's father. We can see that he is his biological parent through the way that the alleles match up on this test. At both of the chosen loci, we can see that Danny and Mike both share at least one common allele. This is because Mike is his father, and you only inherit a few alleles from your mother and a few alleles from your father, so you wouldn't have all of them in common, just a few. Another thing to notice is that our victim's DNA and the DNA sample found at the scene have no alleles in common, and therefore this DNA sample has to come from our suspect. Finally, we can see that the person who committed this crime has to be Danny, because his alleles are the only ones that match up at both of the loci. Even though Bradley's alleles match the sample at locus 1 and Emily's match at locus 2, it is impossible for the DNA to have been left by either of them because they don't match at both of the loci. Thanks to all of your hard work and the use of DNA fingerprinting, we were able to gather enough evidence to put Danny behind bars.